Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Tarot by the Book. If you are new to this series, welcome, welcome. I do these videos once a week here on this channel, and in this series I like to share with you a week ahead tarot reading. And what I like to do is read the cards intuitively. I do a 3-card spread: energy, obstacle, and advice. I do a 3-card spread, I read it intuitively, and then after I've read the 3 cards intuitively, we also dive into the guidebook for the deck and read what the guidebook had to say. So I do my best to pick each week's decks randomly. So if I don't have a guidebook that comes with the deck, I'll typically pull one of my favorite tarot resource books or sort of general books, and I'll read from there. But this week I have selected Barbara Moore's Wizard's Tarot. So this is a really, really beautiful deck, and it is something that I think brings a lot of character and color to the tarot. And the guidebook itself is very, very beginner friendly, so it's something you can definitely jump right into. I like that we have upright and reversed meanings. So we will dive into that when we get into the book portion of the reading. But first, let's take a look at the beautiful cards. So this is what the backings look like. Super pretty. And I edged my deck in colors that match the backs. So reds, oranges, yellows, and just a splash of purple to go with these colors down here. All right, so if you are going to be hanging out with us for the reading, all you need to do is take a couple deep breaths, focus on your week ahead, or on a situation that you think could be answered with the card positions that are energy, obstacle, and advice. I'm going to give us a couple more shuffles, take a couple deep breaths on your end, and we're going to get started. Don't forget that I will have timestamps down below so you can jump to the intuitive reading portion or the by the book portion, and you can hop around and all that good stuff. All right, let's see what we've got going on for the week ahead. All righty. Energy. The 9 of Wands. Advice, obstacle, the King of Pentacles, and advice is our 3rd position, and that is the Emperor. Oof, we've got some like boy energy happening here. Let's get zoomed in. I'm going to make sure my focus is in the right spot. There we go. All right, so these are our 3 cards for the week ahead. First, for the energy, we have the 9 of Wands, and here we have a character who very much looks like he is standing guard. He's got what look to be friends or fellow party members. This totally is making me think of like D&D or like other RPGs or role-playing games. He feels like he's somebody that's up front, and he's created a bit of a barrier, and he is standing guard over the people behind him, or these figures behind him that seem to mean something to him. Now, a lot of times in the 9 of Wands, we see somebody who is sort of worn down. They've been holding the line for a bit, and sometimes it can feel like, man, is this ever going to end? It can feel exhausting. So when we see this for our week ahead, the 9 of Wands, it tells me that some of us are feeling very vigilant. We feel like we need to really hold the line. We need to protect the things or the people that are important to us. We're feeling the need to sort of batten down the hatches in a way. And for a lot of us, that could just mean being generally protective of ourselves, our space, our energies, or our loved ones. For others, it could be something a lot more specific. Pay attention to what pings in your intuition as you hear the message. But oftentimes what I would see this energy as is that defensive, protective energy. So that is the energy of the week ahead, sort of a looking after, sort of protecting, holding, being in a place where you feel like you need to be a little bit guarded. The wariness wariness can also be a factor. Sometimes with the 9 of Wands, we get a sort of hypervigilance happening where we're sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and maybe we're being overly tense and overly rigid about being protective of our space or our energy, so be aware of that as well. When we move into the 2nd card position, we're looking at the obstacle. And so we're always looking at this card as if it had been drawn in the reverse, because we're looking at how this card could show up as an obstacle. And we have the King of Pentacles. Now, right away, this sort of feeds into what I was getting from the 9 of Wands, because the King of Pentacles is somebody who's very much, he kind of knows how he wants things to be done. He can be very much in charge. He does get things done. He's accomplished. But the thing about the King of Pentacles in the earthly suit, this is somebody who can also, in their shadowy side, be kind of stubborn and rigid and unwilling to move and change and flex, duck and weave, sort of as I like to say, with life. So this is somebody who's sort of digging in their heels, and that kind of energy, that sticky energy, tells me that this Nine of Wands could be indicating for some of us that we're in a position where we're just like being really resistant to change, and what we're protecting is the status quo. So be aware if that's you or if that's somebody in your life who's just really clinging desperately to like not wanting to change, wanting things their way, feeling very rigid, very immovable. Think of the earth element when it doesn't want to move. That's kind of that shadowy side of the King of Pentacles, in my opinion. That's what's coming through intuitively from these cards. Now let's look over to the advice card, and we have the Emperor, which is again a lot of this sort of like strong kind of dominant kind of energy. And it's really giving me this feeling of like we're working way too hard. Like a lot of us are working way too hard to accomplish not a whole lot. So if you find yourself in that position where you feel like you're just like really burnt out, but you don't feel like you're doing anything, look at what you're clinging to. Look at what you're unwilling to change, what you're feeling a little bit too stuck with or stuck on or focused on. Notice if you're fixating on anything in particular. Notice where that sluggishness is coming from, because the advice of the Emperor is like, what are you worried about? Like, this is my domain. It's my life. I can live my life the way I want. Like, why am I so stuck on not changing? If I'm confident, if I'm able to step into my power and my agency, then I understand that I can navigate change and I can navigate new things, and it's going to be okay because I'm going to forge the rules as I go forward. Allowing change to happen doesn't necessarily mean that we're allowing ourselves to be hurt or taken advantage of in any way. And I think the Emperor is kind of that reminder, like, you can be a badass about this. You don't have to like let life just take you for a ride, but you don't have to be hyper vigilant and unwilling to budge either. And again, these energies might be speaking about somebody in your life or about you, but that's what's jumping out at me intuitively, is that somewhere, those of us who really need to hear this message, we need to soften. We need to go with the flow a little, and we need to trust ourselves, because I think the Emperor is like, trust yourself, dig into your inner fire, know that you can handle it. You've got this, and kind of carry that energy forward, and then you can soften up a little here on the defense. You can maybe get a little less rooted, right? A little more willing to move, and you'll be able to handle what life throws your way just a little bit better. So that's what's coming through intuitively to me, or with me, with these three cards. Let's take a look now at the guidebook. So I'll zoom this out. We're going to pull this baby over and take a look at what the guidebook has to say about the Nine of Wands first. So let's take a look at that. That was our energy of the week ahead. Oh, I forgot. These are numericals, or numerologically ordered. So I'm going to go to the nines. There we go. Perfect. And I love this because it's got big, beautiful artwork so we can see it pretty well. So this says, so the keywords are protecting, defending, stamina, loyalty, strength, discipline, and wounded warrior. It says, Wands represent fire, will, passion, courage, drive, career, projects, goals, desires, and action. The nines are cards of solitude and fullness. Each one brings a situation you must work through alone, which will shape your identity and who you will become. Batten down the hatches and prepare for a siege. You've already been engaged in some kind of struggle or battle and have gained a short respite. Progress has been made, but the situation isn't over. Although, because this is a 9, it is nearly done. You just have to hold on a little longer. It's possible that the worst is over and maybe there won't be another attack, but you should remain cautious, guarding that which you're committed to protecting. How you behave in this moment, this transition between chaos and completion, will shape you. Because you are worn out, your response will be more likely to rise up within you rather than be one based on calculated logic. Will you grow paranoid? Will you be a gracious victor? Will you demand payment in kind for every insult visited upon you? Will you abandon your commitment? So there's some really pointed things in this guidebook entry that speak to that idea that you could be needing to just hold on a little longer, be a little more, just hold on to that protective energy, or you could be taking that protective energy and holding on too tightly to it. So I think that does sort of synergize well with what I got from this card intuitively, but there's also some other little gems that might have popped out at you from that reading, and I would encourage you to always pay attention to the things that really make you kind of zing a little bit when you're listening to the messages, what feels resonant, because that matters. That's a part of this process. This is a collaboration between you, the watcher, and me, the reader, and it's giving you an opportunity to see what sparks your intuition as well. So always pay attention to that. Let's look next at the King of Pentacles, and we're going to look at his reversed meaning, because we're looking at this in the obstacle position. Oh no, are there not reversed meanings for the court cards? It looks like there might not be. So let's see what he says here. Okay, so let's just see. Keywords: authority, balanced, powerful, mature, very experienced, practical, cautious, generous, able, and resourceful. And I would argue that those are all upright meaning or standard keywords. I don't see reversals in there, but we'll see if the description says anything else. Kings manage resources, usually in a group setting. They focus on the big picture and list their experience and authority. Practical, down-to-earth, and cautious, the Pentacles are resourceful and patient. They can slip into materialism, greed, and laziness. Open, friendly, and calm, this king is probably the most approachable of the kings. He values the things that make life pleasant, and for him, that includes an efficient home and workspace, fulfilling work, and items of quality. Making things easier and better are his specialties. He measures success by how much one enjoys life rather than how many resources one has. It was probably a King of Pentacles who said, work smarter, not harder. Don't waste his time with drama or nitpicky complaints. Life is too short for such nonsense. I do wish there was a reverse meaning, because I do know that this energy, when you think of that energy that's described here, like how does that show up if it's showing up in a shadowy sense or in a not as helpful sense? Because again, this was our obstacle card. So how could that energy be showing up as an obstacle? And I think that'd be something to chew on. Going off of just what is here, I would say it's somebody who's maybe is focused on working, like overworking a problem, because again, they said he's like work smarter, not harder. So maybe in his shadowy side, the King of Pentacles is working harder, not smarter. Something to think about. All right, so let's look at our Emperor next, who is our advice card, and see what that one has to say. This is a beautiful guidebook. I love that we get these full color images. All right, so we're going to look at the upright. Keywords: stability, structure, power, authority, leadership, control, protection, stewardship, order, boss, fatherhood, father, ambition, reason, logic, and confidence. It's time to look at the big picture. You have a finite amount of resources at your disposal. In order to make them last or to make the most of them, you have to create a plan. Maybe things have been flowing really well lately, but life is made of cycles, and that means taking account of what you have and assessing future needs. This can apply to finances, material resources, time, or energy. The Emperor contains a lot of fiery energy and a desire for action, but he and you must put personal desires on hold. Right now, the greater good or larger need claims your attention. The Emperor can also represent issues of fatherhood or authority. So I definitely focused a lot more on the fatherhood authority piece. Does this go on to the next page? No, but there's an advice section. So it says the Emperor isn't the most fun card for many people because it comes with both authority and responsibility, and his crown lets you know that you are being asked to take on a challenging role. Know that, like a dragon, you are in a position to protect whatever needs protecting, whether that means resources or people, and that you, like fire, have the power to do so. The intricate throne suggests that the situation may be complex, but the staff with the crystal reminds you that you have the ability to master it, even if you'd rather do something else. Create systems and plans for efficiency. There's that word again. Weigh needs versus resources. Keep in mind long-term goals. So based on the book reading, and if I layer that in with what I was getting, I would say there's a message here for some of us around being willing to change and working more efficiently rather than working harder. So again, the Nine of Wands could be an overworking of the problem, and the King of Pentacles can indicate that we're kind of just like not seeing the forest for the trees. We're being a little bit stuck. And the Emperor's like, yeah, but you could get more efficient. You could create a plan. You could figure out how to navigate this situation in a more effective way rather than fixating on the wrong things. So that's how I would kind of layer the two together. I'm really curious what your guys' thoughts are. So please let me know how this reading felt and resonated for you in the comments section down below. I always love reading those comments. So thank you so much for those of you that do come in and leave a comment. Of course, you're never obligated to do that, and I enjoy and respect all of you that watch these videos, whether you comment or don't comment. It's all good, but I do love hearing it, so always fun. And I'm nosy, so like there's that. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me for Tarot by the Book. Please do like this video if you enjoyed your reading. Subscribe if you are new here. Click the little bell so that you are notified of my future videos and my occasional spontaneous reading live streams. And if you want to book a one-on-one tarot reading with me, you can always do that over at supportivetarot.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!